What you do for yourself depends on what you think of yourself. What you think of yourself depends on what you know of yourself, and what you know of yourself depends on what you have been told. Great dawn and grand rise in Cleveland, Ohio. Welcome to another edition of 360 Info Network with your hosts, Hamtonio, and yours truly, Vince Robinson. You know, I'm going to be fully and totally transparent with everyone. Mercury is in retrograde, and one of the things that happens in Mercury retrogrades is that you have miscommunication. So as a result, we're going to chop it up today. We are going to welcome you to give us a call and talk to us about what's on your mind, and we're going to reach out and see if we can get to Dr. Brown, Dr. James Brown. He may join us if we are successful in reaching him today. Just a quick announcement from our partner, Chuck Conway Jr., about something that is going to take place tomorrow, and that is at the Church of God in Christ at 7541 Kinsman Road. You're going to have a Sunday service with a guest speaker of Elder Robert E. Carson. It's going to take place at 11 o'clock a.m., and again, that's at the Church of God in Christ, 7541 Kinsman Road in Cleveland, Ohio. The host pastor is Kennedy G. Lockhart, and the first lady is Darylyn Lockhart. So just wanted to put that on your radar. I guess he's coming in from West Angeles Church of God in Christ, and there's Bishop Charles E. Blake at that location. So we will continue to reach out. Also, just wanted to let folks know while I have the microphone, going to be performing at Rudy's Pub tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock. So we got a nice lineup for you. Our brother J.T. Lynch on saxophone, my friend and jazz poet Rayshawn Blake on drums, jazz poet Nicholas Moore on guitar, and Damon Cody is a percussionist, so he'll be holding down that portion of our musical performance. It is from 6 to 9. You can come by. It's absolutely free of charge, and it's a great time. You know, we do have a mic, so if you're a poet or if you're a singer and you want to do a little something a cappella or roll the dice and sing a song that we already know, we might be able to help you out with that. But just want to invite everyone to come through, have a good time. It is at 2191 Lee Road in Cleveland Heights. It's a few doors down from the Cedar Lee Theaters, on the same side of the street, actually, and adjacent to a property that used to be known as the Lemongrass restaurant there. I think it was a Thai restaurant or something like that. So if you're not doing anything tomorrow evening, you want to slide on through. Also, we're going to be ramping up entertainment at Larchmere Arts. We're going to do what we can to create the real gallery experience, have a meeting with a contractor this afternoon, and we're going to explore putting a rail system in so we can start hanging art, because the walls have been bare since we did our exhibition there for MoCA last summer, and just didn't want to tear the walls up. So that's what's going on at Larchmere Arts. Stay tuned. We're going to be doing live music. We'll be doing some spoken word events come next month, and we're going to jump in. You know, there's a lot of stuff that's taking place during the month of March. During the month of June. Our partner Hamtonio has been very busy lately, organizing a month full of activities, including bringing Professor James Small to Cleveland on June 4th. So we'll look forward to that, the health and wellness event that will take place on June 11th, and some other things that will round out the month. So, Brother Hamtoni, are you back with us?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm with you. Yes, we, got some, like you said, a powerful month coming up in June, so we want you guys to stay tuned and go to the freedommonth.com, freedommonth.com for a list of events. If you want to be a vendor, for the major culminating event at Voinovich Park on the 25th, come on down and give me a call, 216-323-6155, 216-323-6155. On June 8th, we got the roundtable discussion with former Chief Calvin Williams, former Deputy Chief Deion McCauley, Judge Mike Nelson, and NAACP lawyer James Hardiman to discuss, how can we get more African Americans on the job, Fourth Amendment, search and seizures, what police cannot do. Talk a little bit about the issue 24. It's not a bashing. We're just going to inform ourselves and educate ourselves on the laws and how we can best maneuver, through the city and doing some things. And then down in Ridall on the 11th, Dr. Brown is going to be speaking again with a few other, Dr. Foy, just give us some health and wellness tips, and probably some of the facilitators down in Ridall, will keep you guys abreast on what they got going on down there. Them brothers is doing great down there. Then the 12th is the mass prayer piece at Wings Academy. We're going to try to change some of this energy. Dr. Brown and hopefully our brother Wayne Chandler will be teamed up again, working together, showing us how to get the best results out of our prayer and meditation so we can try to change some of this negative energy that is going on. I save the best for last. I don't ask you guys for too much, for those who are able. We're looking for donations. We're going to change the whole game down at Tri-C for Professor Smalls coming in. I want to open the door because we had a ticket price of it for $15. We want to open the doors up for free, for free. If I can get a couple more sponsors to donate a little bit to pay for his honorarium coming, we got all the rest of it together, and we, of course, we're chipping in as well, but we decided if it works that way best with the college. If I'm going to keep it at the college, it works best that way. So I say, hey, let's open it up to the public and see if we can get some folks to help sponsor. We put your name in the book or what have you, and we can do it like that. Then come one, come all that can fit into the place, and it's in a smaller auditorium, probably about 100, 150 people that can hold. But that's what we're going to do. So, hey, that's a wonderful thing to come see our brother, our good brother, Brother James Small, come down, from New York and impart some good information on it. So, hey, give me a call, 216-323-6155, 216-323-6155 if you want to be a part of this powerful program, because it's up to us. If we don't do it, then who's going to do it? Everybody can't do everything, but everybody can do something. Okay, so let's put our little coins together and make this happen for everybody. Let's open it up to the community.
All right. So Professor Professor Small is going to present on ancient African civilizations and spirituality. Mm-hmm. Okay. Absolutely. All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and anything else we throw at them, the brother, is really deep in there. And talk about, I may try to get him to talk a little bit about that connection to Ghana and what's going over there, and people who maybe think about repatriating the back there and doing some things, and maybe even creating some business, because I think that's important, and we need to make that connection,
Yeah.
So if folks want to repatriate, back there, it'd be a good thing.
Yes. Interestingly enough, I ran across a video with Professor Small this morning. I think it was on YouTube or from Facebook or something, and he was on with a sister from, I believe she may have been from Zimbabwe. I know that she was somewhere in Africa. But the topic of discussion was the fact that the people of Zimbabwe fought and obtained their freedom, and the presence of colonialism is still there. But what happened was they weren't getting support from Great Britain or other colonizers, so they basically have taken financial and economic responsibility for themselves in certain ways because they're not getting what they should get from the colonizers. It was a really interesting discussion, and he talked about the fact that, Zimbabwe used to be Rhodesia, of course, named after Cecil Rhodes. But when the people of Zimbabwe fought to obtain their freedom, there were 70,000 deaths in the process of that struggle. But, they were successful in certain ways. So, there is a certain synergy right now that is bringing people back to Africa. And I'm speaking of Africans from the diaspora going back to Africa. you know how YouTube is, and you start watching certain videos, and then you start getting other videos that are related to the same subject cropping up. Well, it's algorithms and all that. But long story short, I ran across a video of this young brother from Ghana, and he's kind of like an ambassador for Africa, you know, and he's encouraging Africans from the diaspora to return home. And I just find it ironic, you know, and we've talked about this before, but in 2019, we had the year of return, and we saw black people in large numbers return to the continent of Africa. And then the Rona hit, and after that, you know, everything came to a screeching halt. So now we're beginning to see the momentum picking up. I know your brother Kaka was in Gambia last week, or Senegal. I think he's on his way back right now. But you can actually see the evidence that they want us over there. They see that we are in a position to help them economically and in other ways. So, you know, if you haven't thought about visiting the continent of Africa, you should do that, because there's a lot of opportunity, and, you know, we can be of mutual benefit to each other. It's 11:15 on AM 1490 WERE. You're listening to 360 Info Network with your hosts, Hamtonio and Vince Robinson. We'll be back with more after this word from our sponsors. Welcome back, 360 Info Network, with yours truly, Vince Robinson, Hamtonio, and our very special guest right now. He's Dr. James Brown, our resident holistic practitioner and / allopathic gastroenterologist, but he's one of those conscious allopathic doctors, and he has a pedigree in the beautiful things in life that are connected to the things that happen in the East and all of the beautiful things that we've gotten from over there. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Brown.
Good morning. Happy to be here, guys.
Glad to have you.
All right, my brother. Yes, Doctor, you know, that last conversation we had, which it was just too much for me, brother. So you know what I said. I decided not to put it in the Zoom programs, you know, but
okay.
I'll probably do it in July. So I'm telling you guys now that the keep your ears tuned in, and we're going to do a Men's Day workshop, you know, that I think is very, very needed. And, you know, all the brothers that have, even, you know, for themselves and have sons, they need to be there and they need to know this. You know, we finished up that conversation the last time we talked to Doc about how sacred, you know, this sexual energy is and how it can be detrimental in dealing with your longevity and your health and things of that nature if you go through life like most of us do, unbeknownst to that. And even when you're getting into procreating, how sacred and serious it is. So we decided to put something together that we normally don't get because of us being here in this continent, and they have, you know, took that energy and perverted it into something, you know, that is sacrilegious, and we're not benefiting from it at all, you know, because of our unknowingness, you know what I mean, to things of that nature. Because everything the Creator put together is about, you know, balance. It's about sacredness and has a meaning. So that's why it's so important for us to go back to our roots and understand who we are and what our purpose is. So we're going to put together, maybe sometime in July, a little workshop for men and young men, so we can continue to go ignorant and not understanding this whole thing that we are dealing with as we get older. You know, we don't have to deal with the way the system has it, you know, played out right now. You know what I'm saying, Doc?
In that vein, let me just give a little plug. I'd like for the men that's listening, go to AsauraSetPA.com. That's the website for the Asauraset Association in Philadelphia. They are having a men's health and wellness conference next weekend. You can attend in person, or you can go through Zoom and sign in and see the conference on Zoom. And it's dealing with these exact same topics, the kinds of herbs and supplements and energy work that men should do on a regular basis to keep your potency up. You know, by the age of 35, our testosterone is starting to decline. Most of us associate testosterone with our sexual potency. Yes, that is a certain aspect of it, but the testosterone also gives us the drive to accomplish, to do, to actually stake out our place in the world. It makes us ambitious and adventurous and decisive. So there are certain practices and herbs like, you know, maca and longerfield, horny goat weed, ginger, garlic, things that we can take, besides not putting things into our body which detract from our potency, and doing these things at a younger age, and also being judicious in, you know, about our sexual practices, because you can dissipate yourself in certain ways, or you can nourish and nurture yourself in certain ways. And so this is about, number one, yes, you can produce healthy offspring, but also so that we can keep our youth and vitality later in age, so that when our understanding deepens and grows, when our wisdom deepens and grows, we're still healthy enough to advise and serve as counselors for the young, energetic men who are going to be the driving force in society. We're not, as seniors, all broken down and crippled and cannot be good receivers for what's coming in through the cosmic energy, and being, you know, a vitalized, experienced elder who can transmit a lot of wisdom to the young men.
Dr. Brown, I want to ask a question, and it's kind of an adult issue, but we're talking about men and men's health, and I've seen both sides of this, so I just want to get your take on it. There's a lot of interest in male vitality and virility, and testosterone is a major component of that. There are some say that you should practice retention of your life force, i.e., you know, that which impregnates a woman. Okay, I want to say semen retention, but I'm trying to stay, and you know,
you just said it. I think, my brother.
I just said it. So you know, and then you see other schools of thought that encourage people to you know, have sex, or to go through it if by yourself 2 or 3 times a week. So some say it's best to hold on to that because it's actually a part of your brain, it's part of your life force, and you don't want to waste it. There are others that encourage people to, you know, do it as often, or maybe not too often, but several times a week. So what's your position on that? Is it important for folks to retain that, or should they, you know, in the interest of good prostate health, empty several times a week?
Let's approach it in a couple of ways. So, number one, in the Ayurvedic viewpoint, they say it takes 50 bites of food to form 1 drop of blood. It takes 50 drops of blood to form 1 drop of semen. That is concentrated life force. It's extremely valuable. And it's not just the life force that you can use to bring another life into the world through your interaction with the female. It's the life force that you circulate throughout your body for your vitality. That's one way of looking at it. Concentrated life force. Another way is the Western world. It contains certain elements like chromium and selenium. And those same elements and others like that are important for brain health. So if you ejaculate too often, you are losing those same minerals that your brain requires to function healthfully. You're putting your brain and your gonads in competition for the same minerals. And consequently, overindulgence can actually cause cognitive decline, which gets us to the point that you were talking about. So when we are aroused in that way, what you're actually feeling is Kundalini, that serpentine fire energy that the mystics talk about. It's our life force. It's our life force being vitalized, activated, and rising through the body. That's why it's called, quote unquote, getting hot. It's Kundalini energy. That energy helps to heal us. It helps to open up dormant faculties in our body, especially dormant spiritual faculties. So engaging in practices that arouse that life force, very, very, very important. At the same time, men should not lose their life force on a regular basis because it will dissipate their own life force and energy. They're sacrificing their long-term well-being for that sensation of release. And you can also actually have ecstasy in absence of ejaculation. Now, what you're referring to in terms of holding it in, yes, if you don't know the proper breathing technique and certain movements with the eyes, the blood and the energy will be congested down there, and you'll have discomfort. You walk away, we have a colloquial term for it, but let's just say you have an uncomfortable feeling down there if you stay aroused for a long time and you don't have that release. But actually, it's just the energy that's overloaded down there, and with certain breathing practices, you can move that energy and that life force from that area up to the central nervous system into the brain.
Okay, that's a very detailed explanation, and I thank you for it, and I hope that it sets the record straight for the brothers out there who are aware of this issue. But I think, Dr. Brown, and we're having an adult conversation. I don't think you got little babies listening to the show right now. But, there is so much stimulation in our society right now. I mean, if you look at media, everything is about pushing sex. There's the objectification of women in general and sisters in particular now. I watched a video, and I don't watch videos very often, but I watched a video yesterday. I can't even tell you who the artists are, but the name of the video was a twerculator. And and so if it was about a twerculator, you know what the imagery was about. But the whole thing is that there's just so much stimulation, and then, we just make it such a casual thing to let go of your life force. But as you said, that you can enjoy the act without giving up your life force, and you should be conscious and aware. What you're talking about goes back to the whole idea of breath and prana, and we talk about the healing aspects that our breath has when we have an awareness and a consciousness of it, and we do things that we can to control it. So I just want to put it out there to eliminate confusion for others. And, they tell you that you should do this so often for your prostate health, but that may not necessarily be true. And what it does eventually is that it just plays into keeping us into a lower vibrational energy that does not allow us to operate at our maximum capacity. So in essence, what I'm hearing you say is that if you do it too often, you're going to lose some of your brain power.
If you release too often, that's exactly what happens. You are going into a mineral deficiency that the brain requires a certain level in order to function normally. But to put another cut on it and tie into what Lynn was saying before, the young people are being constantly stimulated because, as we know, there are certain secret societies that actually govern this planet. These secret societies have been around for a long time, and they have, through their colonization and ransacking of ancient cultures, they understand the esoteric spiritual truths that exist. So this whole idea of male and female interaction, which forms hundreds of millions of stars in the billions of galaxies, holds them in order, holds them in place, and creates everything that we see, taste, touch, feel, and experience, is because of the interaction of male energy and female energy. So if you want to keep a people impotent and powerless, keep them from using the energy that's available for them, not just to create physical life, i.e. children, but to create spiritual life and make things happen in the 3D world through that interaction, through that intimate embrace and the energy arousal. If you go into it with a certain framework of mind, a certain attitude, a certain perspective on how sacred this is and what I want to accomplish, women, because they can go into that ecstatic trance at that time, can actually access the wisdom of God, the knowledge of God. They can come back with solutions to our situations, to our problems. Men and women together in that union can vitalize projects that they're doing, things that they're doing in their family life, but also think about if there were hundreds of couples who want to elevate the level of their community, who wanted to bring economic growth into the community, who wanted to actually improve the social conditions in the environment. That's the energy that God uses to create. We are children of God. We have the same energy. We are creators, and we can use the same energy to change our whole circumstance. But if we're kept thinking that we're simply animals and it's just for pleasure or just for making children, then we're acting more like the animals than we are of the gods that we say we are.
Yes,
right. Because see, that's always is the issue when you're thinking about that like that. See, because that's the importance again of science and nature and knowing those things. And see, because we're not taught that. We're not taught of understanding that male and female principle. They gloss over it a little bit in school when you're saying atom, electron, proton, and things of that nature. But they really don't go into depth about that whole balance and how it really is connected to everything, to most things on the planet. But seems like the system, what we're struggling right now with, Doc, is, all the estrogen that is all around us. I mean, as far as men is concerned, I don't know how well is it, it's affecting the women, but as far as the men, as far as in the
yesterday, Lynn, African American girls are reaching puberty. Some are reaching puberty as early as age 9, and now they're finally saying it is definitely due to the estrogen effect of plastics.
The plastics, yeah, that's what I was getting at, yeah. I mean, that's all in your plastics and the baby bottle stuff and then some of the linings of some of the cans. And I don't know if there's any connection to that, because there's theory and, I don't know if it's, it's some real strong data out there. I know I've read it a few times, heard a few times about the whole use of fluoride in toothpaste, making people docile. I wonder, would that affect the testosterone in men too, is there a relationship or correlation with that?
Yes, sir. Actually, so as we know, fluoride was a gas that was used in World War I, chemical warfare. And so it was used in World War I in the trenches in Europe. It destroys the nervous system. And so after the end of World War I, there were all these stockpiles of fluorine, and they wanted to know what they could do with it. And somebody came up with the idea, well, you know what, we can put this in toothpaste, and we can say it helps to keep teeth white. Well, I mean, people like us have been walking on this planet with teeth for the last 200,000 years, and they weren't using fluoride, and, they seem to do pretty well. And so it's all a marketing ploy. They had all this chemical. They wanted to use it, make money off of it, so they started putting it in toothpaste and in other compounds. But back to your other point, about the spiritual science, we also get it when they, through the divine Trinity, they changed the male God and the female God coming together to produce the child to Father, Son, and quote unquote the Holy Ghost. They took the female, which is actually the female represents actual spiritual energy. Males represents intention and will. So the sperm impregnates the egg, but it's the egg that starts to multiply and divide and produce all the cells, and then the female carries this in herself for a certain cycle of time before it comes out. So the effector of everything that we see is female. And so if you keep the females thinking that they're B's and H's and their only value is in, the size of, certain parts of their body, and you teach men that where their value is, will never recognize how sacred they really are, the vessels that they really are, and treat them with the respect that they are, and bring ourselves up to a platform where we can actually approach a queen mother.
I got to throw this in real quick, y'all. Bear with me. When you said that, it reminded me of something that I got from Bobby Hammond years ago. And just like everything in this particular Western culture, they got you doing things backwards, And when you go into a church, you take off your hat. And you should take off your shoes when you're in a sanctuary, you cover your head to keep your thoughts, pure, So they got us 180 degrees backwards. So, but he brought up something in reference to even getting married. He said that, most churches have an aisle down the middle that goes into the pew. And that's symbolic of the female with the fallopian tubes and things of that nature. This is how he broke it down. He said, symbolically, we got it wrong. You got the woman traveling up to meet the man. Actually, the man should be traveling up to meet the woman. And I was like, wow, okay, that kind of makes sense, So I thought that was an interesting piece, of symbology that we and that's exactly how almost everything we got going on here, you almost need to do the opposite.
I'll tell you another way that they hide that truth, too. I had an opportunity to visit numerous medieval churches in Italy. And so I'm sure most of the listeners are familiar with, quote unquote, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So it's actually a bell tower. It's an obelisk that stands up in the top is a bell. Well, every medieval church in Europe, there is a sanctuary, which is in the shape of a cross. Then associated with the sanctuary is this large phallic symbol, or for ancient Egypt, it's the symbol of the male principle, the female principle in perfect equilibrium, and the sign of resurrection. But also associated with every church is a baptistry. They have a huge baptismal pool, which is their reference to all the lakes associated with the temples in Kemet. So you have the water principle, then you have this erect phallic symbol at the place where the crossroads are, the sanctuary. And so this whole male-female dynamic is in architecture in their sacred places of worship all throughout Europe. I visited at least over a dozen medieval churches throughout Italy. 201, they all had the same design, male principle, female principle, showing the resurrection and the eternity of life.
So you kind of intimated the significance of that body of water that's at Abu Simbel, where they have the four figures that are on the cover of that Earth, Wind, and Fire album.
Yes.
Can you talk about the significance of that pool?
Sure. So most of the ancient temples in Kemet, they're dry now, but they all had a lake because that is the symbol and sign of Aset, the mother goddess. the one who gives birth to the son that fights evil and claims his father's throne, Osir. So water, which is also a symbol of the moon, is that female principle, that yin principle that has to be impregnated with our intent and will to bring into manifestation what we need. In Kemet, water was symbolic of going into trance, of going of accessing the spiritual side of us. And so all of these lakes were what was used to actually, at ritual, bring that water principle into the ritual ceremony. And the Romans, and then then the Catholics after them, incorporated that because they understood the wisdom of that in the architectural design of their building. But we have lost that understanding, so now we have churches now, and in the Catholic Church now, they'll have a little fountain in the back. I'm not sure if our Baptist churches, oh yes, we have the baptismal pool, yes. So the water principle still exists, but that's the significance of it.
Okay.
That's where you go to be reborn.
Yes.
Quote unquote.
So profound, and it has much more meaning to me now that I've had this explanation from you than when I was there to witness it in person. I just want to draw everyone's attention to something that Dr. Brown told us about earlier in our conversation. It's called Healing Intensive for Black Men and Our Sons. It's going to take place on Friday, May 27th. It is the ATEFU conference. It will also take place on Saturday, May 28th and 29th. For more information about this in-person and virtual event, you can go to asarasetpa.com. That's asarasetpa.com. And if you don't know how to spell it, it's AUSAR, AUSET, P as in Peter, A as in Anthony.com. Just visit the website and you can get all the details that you need from that. You're listening to 360 Info Network right here on AM 1490 WERE with your host, Sam Tonio, and yours truly, Vince Robinson. Our guest is Dr. James Brown. He is going to be participating in a health and wellness event that will take place during the month of June, and we're going to give you more details about that when we come back. We'll be back with more 360 Info Network after this.
Yeah.
Welcome back to 360 Info Network with your host, Sam Tonio, yours truly, Vince Robinson, and our guest, Dr. James Brown. Before we took the break, we just told you about the Healing Intensive for our Black Men and Sons Conference. It's going to take place next weekend, and it is a virtual event, also in person. I believe it's somewhere in Pennsylvania. You can get more information about that by going to asarasetpa.com. You know, we're having this conversation about black men's health, and I just want to commend you, Brother Hamtonio, for having the idea to have an event for men, because what I observe in our community and society in general is that, you know, sisters are always coming together and promoting each other and lifting each other up. You know, a couple weeks ago, I did an event. It was at the Oakwood Community Center, and it was women celebrating women. And I just look around, and I don't see black men celebrating black men very much at all. So not only do we need to celebrate each other, but we also need to edify each other. So these kinds of events are extremely important. The other thing that I wanted to touch on as we had our graphic conversation a few moments ago is Kundalini yoga and tantric yoga. There are ways that a man and a woman can come together and really strengthen the bond that they have with each other. And it doesn't always involve going, quote unquote, all the way. So there are things that we can do to enhance our relationships. And I think we owe it to ourselves to explore those possibilities and move things forward so that we can capitalize. And I don't like that word, but what I'm talking about is taking advantage of the creative energy that we have with each other. You know, I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and, you know, the conversation was about doing so many things and always being busy. But, always doing something, always being productive, always being occupied with things allows you to connect with the creative energy that comes from the Creator. So what better way to live life than to be connected with such power and such energy that exists for the benefit of others? Dr. Brown, did you have any comments about that?
If you're cultivating your life force, making sure that you're getting the right amount of sleep, that you're eating a good diet, that you're getting your aerobic workouts, but also that you're practicing some kind of energy cultivation, whether or not it's Tai Chi or Qigong or yoga or all three, and getting in your meditation practice to calm the mind, to relax the body, to relax the spirit. In Taoism, in Chinese medicine, they say it is the yin that nourishes the yang. So you can have a tremendous amount of productivity and output as long as you're taking care to nourish yourself in all those modalities that I just mentioned, properly. And you can do that for quite a long time in your life. There are these communities around the world they call blue zones, where people, the average age is 100 years of age and over. Some are 105. And one of those things is that they remain not just physically active, but they have a connection and purpose to the community. They have not, quote unquote, retired out of being active in and around their villages and their towns, showing some kind of joie de vivre, joy of life, and being of use and having a purpose. So you're absolutely right.
Yes.
I think it's just amazing. Like one of the things me and my brother was talking about, when I was reading the Bible quite frequently when I was young, and you hear them talk about Alexandria and burning the books in the library. I said, well, there's no fortress in the library. Why would someone want to burn books? You know what I mean? So even to not let you know something or take you in another direction or to comfort it, covenant it for themselves or something to that nature. So the question would be, and what we was talking about was, how many of our valuable relics and things of that nature, when they went around grave robbing, that is in somebody's basement somewhere in Belgium, in Europe, or whatever, they have all our information stolen. And I'm sure, these guys, if we finding out now how the pyramids are set up to, in reference to star constellations and how they use astronomy to do certain things and things of that nature. Could you imagine what was in those textbooks and this whole, and how this macro and micro and macro comes together, and how they illustrate that even taking place in us as human beings and the yin and the yang and the woman? What kind of information that is lost or hidden from us in reference to that? Could you imagine that?
A tremendous amount, but a lot of what was lost is the technology, the ways and means that those civilizations and cultures did what they did. Yes, history, knowing who, what, when, where, how, and why is important, but also understanding what made the people who they were. And so that information is still, just like with them, they intuited it. They went inside themselves using special techniques, meditations, trances, rituals, herbs, words of power. All of that is on the inside of us. And we can reclaim that if we just spend some time cultivating ourselves. The knowledge is never lost. It's hidden, but it can't be lost because the books are us. We are the books.
I agree. Definitely. Definitely. The
how
man
many
got
times
to
have
chase
you
that
just
dollar
been
too
doing
much.
something, idly, and you've got a situation that needs an answer. And out of the blue, like a bolt of lightning, you've got this inspiration. Oh, this is how I can have that. This is how I can make this happen. Vince, as an artist, I know he gets areas of inspiration. I've seen his poems. I've heard his music. And I'm sure at certain times, he's just, maybe tinkering with the keys or he's writing down something, and all of a sudden there's a bolt of lightning, a revelation, and all of a sudden now you can put pen to paper, you can diagram it, and you can bring it out. And we all have that capability. We just have to spend some time inside of ourselves instead of always externalized interacting with the entertainment or the detainment distractions that have been set up to keep us occupied and not using our own imagination and using our own spirit to understand and to know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it.
I have to tell you, it's a really beautiful thing when it happens, and then after you participate in that act of creation and then you step back and you look at it, it's like it's hard to believe that happened through you. But I always say,
through you.
I always say, I'm just grateful to be that instrument that gets played through, to be able to share, because I know it's a direct connection with what we call God, what we call the Creator. It's one of the most rewarding phenomena that you could actually experience in life. Dr. Brown, I want to thank you for joining us and coming to the rescue this morning. Mercury retrograde again, but despite that, you just got to put one foot in front of the other and keep it moving, and somehow things will work out. Thanks for joining us, and we definitely are looking forward to the workshop that you'll participate in next month, and I'm sure Brother Hamtonio will keep us apprised, and we'll do everything that we can to make sure that brothers are there to witness what happens in July as well as the health event that happens in June.
My brother, it's always a pleasure. I thank you so much for the platform.
All right.
Thank you, bro.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Brother Hamtonio, any last-minute things you want to get in before we close?
Yes, we get a dynamic brother, and we got one coming on the 4th. So if you guys want to help sponsor this, make a little donation. Let's make it happen. Let's open it up to the public. So give me a call, 216-323-6155, 216-323-6155. Let's make it happen and make June a good month for us, y'all. Don't let anybody take our month from us now. All right.
You started it a few years back. We moved Black History Month from February to June, but, we're going to make Black History Month a yearly thing, not just a monthly thing. It's going to be 24/7, 365. But thanks for all that you do, Brother Hamtonio.
Yes, sir. Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. Don't forget, tomorrow evening at Rudy's, 6 p.m., the Jazz Poets will be there. J.T. Lynch, Rashawn Blake, Damon Cody, and Nicholas Moore. We're going to play some jazz, maybe do some spoken word for you. Also, I'm going to be in a play at Station Hope. It's going to take place on the 28th of May from 7 to 10 p.m., 2600 Church Avenue, right over there on the near west side. I'll be with Mary Frances Renee Miller. We're going to do a play. I hope you love it. And we want to thank our engineer, Tone. Tone is new to us. He was with us a couple years ago. Now he's back. He's doing everything he can to make us sound good and great as we do our show. With that, know yourself, love yourself, be yourself, make today your absolute best day. Peace.
Peace.